Did you know that the rapid growth of self-employment has been a pronounced feature of the UK labour market in recent years? Self-employed increased from 3.3 million people in 2001 to 4.8 million people in 2017. I mean, that is a very large sum of people in the whole of the UK. That is over 15% in 2017, obviously guaranteed throughout the 3 years since this study has been made. That has probably increased even more. So for over 15% of the population being sole traders or self-employed workers, I'm actually quite astounded by that percentage throughout the UK. And obviously when I have worked on film and television, I've worked with people that have travelled from different countries to work here. So even though that is based off of the UK's population, working currently in the UK, there has got to be a much larger sum of self-employed and sole traders working alongside us. However, it also suggests that for income category, the level of earnings which is most common among the self-employed is lower than among employees. Look at that chart. Look at that chart, from employee to self-employed, right? The percentage of the density within so many years. I am shocked. Just the employment rate in general has gone down. It really does just show the struggle in the UK at the moment, not just with the pandemic, because this study was taken in 2017. So that's 3 years ago. I mean, who's going to say that that's actually increased? I highly doubt anybody. What I'm most shocked about at the moment is a lot of people would have come out of employment and gone into self-employment to try and aid their finances. But that chart doesn't suggest that. Everyone, whether they're employed or self-employed, is still working consistently throughout. So I am quite shocked at that, but it is going to help with this fact. The nature of their work may make it difficult to accurately report incomes for a particular period. I have never heard so much. No, that is not true. Is that the majority of self-employed and sole traders within the UK are not paid on time. At one point, I was owed over £3,000 from 2 different companies, and to this day, I am still owed money. So currently, I am self-employed and employed, but that doesn't mean it's okay. And unfortunately, in terms of paperwork and in black and white, to the government, it just seems as if self-employed and sole traders are not earning consistently. In my case, I was earning consistently because I was doing the work to earn, but I wasn't earning at the time I was expected to earn because they were paying me 3, 4, 5 months after I'd done the job. So for me, that is the worst piece of information that could possibly be on the government's website, because that is, I can guarantee you, one of the reasons why they are not supporting us at this time of need, because in black and white we're not seen as earning a consistent amount, so why should they give a consistent amount when we need it? Full-time male and female employees earned £368 and £280 per week respectively. Well, I don't know if I've misread this, but considering someone who is self-employed and employed at the same time, the way I am reading that, male employees earned £368 and female employees earned £280 per week, an over £80 per week price gap. The worst part about this is not that fact, it's actually compared with self-employed counterparts who earned £296 and £198. What is wrong with the economy? I am disgusted. Compared to £368 to £296 and £280 and £198. The massive price gap between employees and sole traders is ridiculous. How can you expect anybody to live off of that amount a week? And that's considering the self-employed and sole traders actually have steady work throughout that month to receive that amount of money. So this was interesting to me because I don't think anybody's really thought about this when you're self-employed. The difference between you're on your own as a sole trader or with a partner with no employees, and then you are a sole trader with employees or you are a limited company with employees, obviously your finances are going to be very, very different, because when you're on your own, you are having to do everything by yourself, do all of the paperwork, you're having to pay for all of your taxes and your finances towards your car and your transport and your kit. When you are an employee to someone who is self-employed, that person will then do it on behalf of their employees. So there is a whole different ball game between the two. At the end of the day, that person that has the employees is still self-employed. They are currently not getting funding, just like we are as sole traders. And that is probably one of the most vital pieces of information you can take from this video, because they are paying their employees. Without the funding, they can't do that. That is making those people struggle at this current moment in time with the isolation and the pandemic outbreak, because they're not getting paid themselves. Now, the increase in self-employment by age is one that is very, very touchy for me. I have found a lot of discrimination against myself when I've went to work. Obviously I look quite young. I have found that people will look at me straight away and think, you are not experienced enough, understanding what legally you are entitled to, so we can get away with it more in regards to not paying me when I'm due to be paid, or not paying me enough when we had the agreement in the first place. Because of that, I am even more shocked at this chart. Look at the 16 to 24 line compared to the rest. Ignore everyone else, because the high account for self-employment are younger people, 16 to 24. I'm in that category, and we take up a very large population of the sole traders within the UK. Yet somehow we are the ones that get taken advantage of the most and don't necessarily get paid what we were expecting to, or when we were expecting to. And I think one of the reasons now is because of the rates within the employments in general in the UK. So if you look at this chart, the increase in self-employment amongst ages 16 to 24 and 65 and over by full-time and part-time hours. With the full-time hours, the rate has gone up for the younger generation, and for the part-time hours for the younger generation, it's actually got even higher. And I think that's because, based off of the information from the last chart, younger people now have a lot more to pay for. They have their cars to save for, they're saving for a house to get on the property market. Very, very young now, I know I am, and I don't think being employed even covers those costs. So now people, whether they're younger or they're older, over 65, are looking at becoming self-employed to try and make ends meet. Why should we have to do that? It really does just show the lack of support that self-employment in the UK has at the moment. We knew that we were always going to struggle from day one. From the first day of my training, they said for the first year you expect to do jobs for free just to get the experience and to build networks. I was quite lucky and I had a couple of networking already, and for those that are watching, you know who you are. I am eternally grateful for all of your support, but imagine if I didn't. And this obviously shows that the younger generation are struggling even in employment, and they're having to do things on the side to try and make ends meet. I am absolutely shocked at the lack of funding anyway, because of the pandemic and because of the self-isolation and salons needing to close and people not being able to travel for work. It means that now more than ever, sole traders need support. Now, you may agree with what I'm saying, you may completely disagree. If you have other facts and you want to share it, absolutely great, because my aim for this video is to discuss my opinions and my feelings based on our situation at the moment. Actually, in the film and TV industry, you show any kind of opinion, any feeling, any emotion, bring your personal values and your personal opinions into work, and they are not going to think lightly of you. And I think that stigma right now is not helping things, because we are all struggling. And I personally think any kind of discussion about this, whether you agree, disagree, whether you have any more information, it's just going to open everyone's minds up to the possibility of changing the situation we're all in at the moment, because if you don't talk about it, they're never going to consider it. There is a petition online from change.org, and it is to sign up to get the government to look at funding for the self-employed and sole traders of the UK. Most of the people that I know that are self-employed have already signed up. I will pop the link in the description, whether it's up here, down here, wherever you want it to be. I think the more with change.org, the more petitions they have, the more likely the government are to actually consider looking into it, the perks and the flaws of changing whatever it is the petition's asking. And I think supporting the country right now, and over 15% of the UK's population right now, and those people that actually support their communities is absolutely vital, because when everything goes back to normal, I can guarantee you, without the support, your sole traders in your street that you've relied on will not be able to go back into work straight away. Now, you can add funding to it if you wanted to show the government how much people actually care about this, but I think just the petitions in general are always good. If you want to share your opinions on it, I honestly don't mind what they are. I just think voicing your opinion in this time of isolation is something that's very, very important, and we should all value it. Get talking, get sharing, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have an answer for us very hard workers. I shall leave you to get back to your coffee and TV watching, and fingers crossed we all stay safe.